Right.
We let you take prisoners, but you can't control them. You send these conscripts out on patrol and they never return, defecting all over again. I can't let this nonsense strategy continue. Well, I insist this Oathbreaker be taken to the voices in Narat, leaving us at an impasse. Fortunately, we have a Fatebinder here to settle the matter for us. The chanter turns to you, an expectant smile creeping across her face. So what say you? What should become of this prisoner? I really want to kill him, but seems like we have a conquest option there. So I guess I'll pick number 3. What gives? Last I was here, the disfavored showed a little more mercy to the enemy. The commander lets out a long sigh as he touches the wound by his neck. These filthy hill people spat on the surrender. We were fools to ever treat them as anything more than violent children. Mercy is what got us into this protracted fight. Let's not continue this mistaken strategy. Okay. Execute the Oathbreaker. One chance to surrender is enough. I agree. The Tearsmen can't be trusted. Rakes, thieves, and whores. Nothing more. We were far too merciful the first time. Drastus nods to a nearby warrior. Have this one tied up. He and his friends can watch each other rot in the sun. I won't keep you here any longer, Fatebinder. I know you have important business in the valley. Drastus salutes you, his iron gauntlet wrapping against his breastplate. For the glory of Kairos. We sing the anthem of pain. I have my thanks, Fatebinder. I must attend to the rest of my soldiers. We will return to the north in triumph. Fatebinder, a pleasure to have you join us. You never really know if one of Tunan's officers is battle ready until the fighting breaks out. She nods with approval. You can clearly hold your own in a fight. A broad-shouldered Despavid soldier snaps the salute. And thank Kairos for that. There's been too much talk of late and not enough action. The Archon of War is planning his next move. Would you have him hasten his plan for your impatience? The superior officer glowers through the gap in her helm. Never, ma'am. Grave Ash protects. She holds her salute with a tightly clenched fist. I'm just eager to see the Vendrian Guard buried under their own patch defenses. Need something? Why hasn't the siege been resolved? It's because the Scarlet Corps scoff at the great general's plan, and they aren't carrying their weight. They should be using their great numbers to patrol and harass the enemy. If you ask me, I think they're intentionally going easy on the Oathbreakers. She grinds her fist into a palm. Even if they listen to us, are they even capable of following orders? The Scarlet Corps doesn't have a chain of command, just a rabble of gang bosses cutting each other's throats for advancement. Pissing on this favorite is like a badge of honor, if you don't mind me saying so. Tell me about this favorite. We are the proud elite of Kairos' military strength, selected from the finest northern stock and hammered against the anvil of war. If you want to put that in perspective, this favored our sword forged with care, then polished and sharpened to perfection. She clears her throat. The Scarlet Corps are more of a rusty pitchfork dredged out of a swamp, effective in large numbers, but easily outclassed. Graven Ash protects indeed. What have you survived? In my early days, I broke from my phalanx and ran at an enemy, received a spear in my guts for my effort. It took the better part of an afternoon for the Archon's protection to patch me up. Learned a valuable lesson, too. When I was at Azure, I caught a hammer blow to the side of the head. All I remember is a ringing sound, and feeling my skull shatter from jawline to ear to top. I woke up hours later. The medic says there's a piece of helmet lodged in my brain. She draws herself up. My badge, my reminder. We owe it all to the great general. He gives us the strength to fight where others would flee, and stand when others would fail. What a pile of dung. They're right about one thing, that this favorite have taken too many blows to the head. She scoffs and crosses her arms. You don't believe in Ash's protection? I believe in it, all right, but I don't buy that he's doing anyone a favor. In war, death is a lesson. Survival is its own reward. If Ash protects her soldiers, the weakest of them occupy a space in the phalanx that could be put to better use. Raven Ash gives his soldiers the chance to improve, which is more than their voices in Naran allows. Off to an early start adjudicating the problems within our camps, are we? The voices of Narat doesn't give his soldiers anything but a purpose. He barely even feeds us. We take everything we want, including our advancement. As you were.
I got it.
Why is it so loud when he talks? Glory to Graven Ash. Glory to Kairos. I think I already looted that. Yep. Wait, why do I still have this? I need to sell that. Let's go back to the old lady. Oh, those are equipped. Oops. I think I'll leave my knife out to rest. I don't think my bowels can take another month of siege. Glory to the voices. Wait, where am I supposed to go?
Can't do that. Sorry, can't.
You are too loud. Is it down here? Oh.
Sorry, can't.
Oh.
Can't do that. Sorry, can't.
Oh. I see. Your arrival pleases our master. Hail Kairos. Tarkus Demos. Oh, he's the one that was he was the one that we ordered to be executed. You there, muttering through that mouth full of congealed blood. Tarkus Demos hangs from his stake. End this, I beg you. But you make a better warning to others while you're still twitching. Should we just... No. Suffer. Unable or unwilling to muster the strength to reply, the Oathbreaker turns away, wincing in pain. The Oathbreaker Tarkus Demos hangs from his post, his eyes showing only faint signs of lucidity. Leave him alone. But that will teach you to betray us.
Can't do that.
You know? And you expect mercy? No. No mercy. Subterfuge. Can she do it? Oh.
Not happening.
No? Oh god, we don't have anybody, we don't have a rogue? Ay, ay, ay.
Right.
She's not a good rogue, apparently.
Need to talk? I suppose I can give you a moment of my time.
First crosses her arms and regards you with curiosity.
What do you need?
Are you a spy for the voices of Narat? First regards you with an unreadable expression. Her mismatched eye look at each of yours in turn. Insufficient reputation. Oh. I mean, does it even matter? You have to decide for yourself whether or not I'm worth trusting. Is keeping me along worth the risk that I'll spill the occasional word about what you ate for breakfast? The voices in the rat is the archon of secrets, not the archon of honesty or fair dealings. If you don't assume that everyone already reports to him, you're not being careful enough. She's got a point. Tell me something about yourself.
If you insist. I'm a Scarlet Fury. That should raise some flags for you. It means that I'm good at killing, and more importantly, that I enjoy it. What I won't enjoy are the pleasures of funerary rites packed with weeping mourners. Someday I'll fall in battle, and then they'll roll me into a mass grave or heap me atop a shit-stained wagon. one more anonymous, knife-riddled piece of meat. Until then, I plan to take whatever I can from life and have a little fun along the way.
Tell me about your life before the chorus. Life? What life? As far as I'm concerned, I didn't exist before the chorus. There was some girl in the farm warning my face and talking with my voice, but she wasn't me. Sometimes she would sneak out at night, take a scythe, and have fun with the livestock. Our shared interests began and ended there. When the Scarlet Chorus swept through my village on their long trek from the bastard city, that was when I finally woke up. I buried my old life, took red vengeance on anyone who'd wronged me, and found the freedom I could only dream was out there. What of your parents? My mother ran a successful farm, and I worked it for a number of years before I found the chorus. She was a hard, bitter woman, acted like the world owed her something. She never talked about my father, though. I figured out a thing or two about him later on. He was a merchant from the Northern Empire who took a liking to her, and she him. He stayed around only long enough to get what he wanted. But never mind him, my mother never had what you would call taste, so he couldn't have been terribly influential to me if he did stick around. Do you ever wish you could do things over and end up somewhere other than Kairos' army? That's as naive a question as I've ever heard. Kairos is everywhere. If you aren't in the Overlord's army, you're being trampled by it. Of course, I could have labored on the family farm into my maturing years, married some dolt, and littered him a nursery of squealing piglets. Having my body torn to pieces by smaller versions of me sounds like fun. Then one day, when I decided enough was enough, I'd slit my husband's throat over breakfast and run off to join the chorus anyway. My way saved a lot of time. Vert smooths back the feathers in her hair and shakes her head with a smile. You're a killer. Better stick with the chorus. At least you understand. The chorus praises and rewards the things inside me that I would suppress in civilized company. Life is too short to repress every desire, right? Especially if I have something to say about it. How did you get conscripted? How did I... Look how big this is. I hate this. Character has been enough experience with each. Okay, I'll try and fix this. That's too big. How did I think you have the wrong idea about me. The chorus didn't take me as a sobbing maid. I strode into their camp and enlisted. Someone tossed me a dented blade. I lived through initiation, spent a week butchering my neighbors, and moved on with my new kin. I didn't waste my time with goodbyes. My mother had long since died, and the rest of my family were louses. The girl I used to be, even she knew that she was worth more than all of them combined. What is the significance of your feathers? Oh, I don't tell that story to just anyone. You'll have to butter me up before I get to really intimate details. Enough questions about your past. That suits me just fine. I'm not much for comparing family histories if I can avoid it. Tell me about your time with the Scarlet Chorus.
The Scarlet Chorus is mostly for madmen and peasants with rusty daggers, but it's also a little niche of freedom that I never had. Once I survived training and met my Scarlet Fury sisters, I saw a different side of the Howling Mob.
Tell me about your training.
For new recruits shoved to the front lines, training means surviving the first battle. Anything beyond that is for the fighters who show potential, whether as blade dancers or arcane madmen. There's nothing in the world like getting put through the paces as a Scarlet Fury. Every day is a test of your commitment and passion. Failure means death. The first few weeks were the hardest, but also the most rewarding. I earned my name, picked up some quality weapons, and met my sisters.
Tell me about the Scarlet Furies.
The elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus. Your typical Horde recruit fights with a rusty spoon and a chip on his shoulder, but the Scarlet Furies are, well, different. We focus our madness. We coordinate, we kill, we dance. It's like art. Imagine a sculpture that twisted in weird, beautiful angles, and then gutted you too fast for you to realize what was happening.
It sounds wonderful.
It is, as I remind myself all the time. The most important day of my life was when the voices of Narat recognized my potential and sent me to Scarlet Fury training.
You earned your name? If you think a simple farmer from the Tiers would name her child Verse, I suggest you visit my old village. Most of them are walking around with surnames like Barrel or Fish. Not the most creative bunch. She smirks and shakes her head. The chorus takes your name away. Whoever you were before, you aren't that person anymore. Then you earn back a name through great deeds, usually murderous ones. That's why you see choirmen walking around with names like Stink Mouse or Face First. There's probably a good reason for it. The voices in the rod gave me this name. When the Scarlet Chorus runs howling into battle, he doesn't hear war. He hears a symphony. And when I fight with blade or bow, he told me that my music stands out louder than anyone else's and contains too many parts too easily defined. When you least suspect, the Archon of Secrets can be downright charming. What's your real name? Oh, game fear. That question isn't worthy of either of us, but I'll entertain it out of pity. You already know me by my real name. It's Verse. Are you looking for whatever arbitrary collection of letters and sounds my mother thought was appropriate when she didn't even know me? Then you're out of luck. I buried that name long ago. Long by my standards, anyway. Tell me about your weapon skills. When I was just a kid, it didn't take me long to realize I was a natural. I could pick up a rusty kitchen knife and skewer a rat from across the room. The Scarlet Chorus gave me opportunities to further educate myself. My sisters were always a bit surprised by how quickly I took to different fighting styles. She frowns for a moment and then shakes off whatever she wanted to say. Back to my questions about the Scarlet Chorus.
What do you need to know?
Before, you hesitated when you brought up your fighting styles. Why? Ugh. As if that's any of your business. If I wanted to say something, you would have heard it. Don't assume that I'm holding back. You fight for me, don't you? Tell me. I suppose that's true. She likes that. And like any competent gang boss, you want to know if your second in command is losing her nerve. Seems fair enough. I mentioned before that I'm good at picking up different weapons and fighting techniques. The truth is, I'm better than good. I could flay a man so cleanly that I'd leave a single strip of skin behind. He wouldn't even need to be tied down. That was one of the first things I discovered about myself after joining the Scarlet Chorus. The voices in the rot recognized it in me as well, which is why he singled me out for Scarlet Fury training. Go on. My sisters were the masters of their fighting forms, but since they died, my style has changed. Almost like I can kill as they did. I could pick up a bow, a lance, anything, really. I could tear someone to pieces with a weapon that I only watch my sisters use. I don't know what it could mean, and that worries me. Who are your sisters? Who were they would be more appropriate. 3 Whispers, Red Geyser, and Seeking Sheath, best fighters I've ever met. There wasn't a foe we couldn't take down together. Our fighting styles complemented perfectly, so we divided up the killing work like bards sharing a song. At least we used to. She presents a solemn salute. Tell me about 3 Whispers. She was as calm as the surface of a pond and light on her feet. More than one foe tripped and fell on their own blade due to Whisper's crafty footwork. Verse lets her gaze slip away from you as a fleeting moment of sorrow steals her attention. Tell me about Red Geyser. A one-woman siege breaker. She would launch herself at her foes like a battering ram. Not even this favorite phalanx could have withstood that dumb suicidal wench. Kairos' eyes, but she was something to behold. Verse slams her fist into her palm. Seeking Sheath. That girl could pass a spear through 12 rings from the far side of a battlefield. Kairos helped any foes who approached her marching single file. She made a game of splitting as many soldiers as possible on the same javelin. What happened to them? We were scouting around Vengeance well during the siege, back when we were only suspected the guard of organizing in secret. My sisters and I came upon a group of them, or Kairos knows. Maybe they found us. No one said anything. We drew iron and bronze. That was when everything went wrong. I was supposed to take point and occupy the guard with a dance of blade work, something disorienting while my sisters picked up their marks. I hesitated. I lost my nerve. Something of rushing the Oathbreakers. Instead of rushing the Oathbreakers, I froze with my weapon drawn. My sisters fought on without me, but they were off balance, like whatever I had was catching. They died. I lived. They died. I lived. My sisters were relying on me to lead the dance, and I failed them. It's understandable. Caution stayed your hand. Your actions were inexcusable for a fighter of your station. Yeah, that's true. And she liked that. You're absolutely right. If I had witnessed the same in one of my sisters, I might have even killed her for endangering the rest of us. Good thing for me that they didn't get the chance. She chuckles, but there's no humor in it. Hesitation is a rot. It's unbecoming of any chorus member, and unheard of in Scarlet Fury. I would cut it from my body and cauterize the wound if I knew its source. She grimaces once more and turns inward, contemplating. Any thoughts on the topic, or are we just here to open all wounds? Any idea why you lost your nerve in battle? I wish I had an explanation. For the first time, I lost the dance. The song of murder drew silent. Instead, there was only rigid, organized control. I have more questions about your sisters. Nope. Not so bad off that I can't talk about them. Okay. Even though she misses them.
What do you need to know?
Who are the Scarlet Chorus leaders? Well, the Voices in Norad is a spider at the center of the web. He acts like the army belongs to him, and he only lends it to Kairos because it suits his purposes, both of which are true. The rest are all offshoots of the Voices, like the Fifth Eye. Once you get down to the rank and file, the Scarlet Corps is organized around a motley bunch of gang bosses who call the shots. What do you want to know? Tell me about the Voices in Norad. He's a madman, but that never stopped me from following his orders, even in a legion as cutthroat as the Corps. You know better than to get on Voice's bad side. People who cross him, or just people he meets, don't tend to survive the experience. If he ever seems disorganized or lost, it's because he's channeling one of the personalities he's devoured over the years. His mannerisms shift over to someone else, someone who's probably long since dead. Better to die than become part of the Voices. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the Voices in the Rat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from his ability, beyond his apparent madness, it is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him about it directly. What makes the Voices in the Rat so powerful? He's the Archon of Secrets, and he didn't earn that title lightly. People say that he knows more than every sage in the Tears combined, and that he can think 1,000 steps ahead of other Archons. One of the longest surviving schools of magic in the Tears, the School of Ink and Quill, is a venerable institution devoted to the acquisition and preservation of knowledge, or so the sages profess, putting more of their energy towards amassing knowledge than disseminating it. They began their scriptorium in 17 TR, and through a series of incremental expansions, the structure became the Vellum Citadel, only to be known as the Burning Library after Kairos' Edict of Fire brought ruination in 430 TR. Not all sages know magic, but those that have mastered the guild's traditional spells can employ magic of protection and preservation. It is a poorly kept secret that the sages have gradually acquired a wide array of magic practiced by rival mage guilds over generations. It would be putting it lightly to say he's never alone under the disapproving helmet of his. If you make secrets your business, I guess having people constantly whisper in your ear is a good thing. I usually want people to shut up, but to each their own. Tell me about the fifth eye. A walking nightmare, that one. I couldn't begin to guess who lives under that armor and speaks with that reedy voice, but I'll tell you what I know. When your world is built on secrets, it pays to have a few extra eyes. The voices in the rod has eyes in abundance, some that he keeps close and others that he sends out in the wilderness. Whoever the fifth eye was before he came into the Archon service, now he's just a half-mad, jabbering speech hole, a bodily function. In other words, an eye. Wait, Nerat's eyes are people? Maybe they used to be people, whatever they were. They're eyes now. Folks like to whisper that the voices in the rod takes his servants and cuts out all the extra parts they don't need. She makes a quick snipping gesture with her fingers. I once heard the voices and fifth eye in a tent together. The voices kept screaming, "Redundancies, redundancies." Every time another gout of blood would spray out of the canvas wall, I can't even guess what he was cutting out. How many eyes does the Archon of Secrets have? The number keeps changing, either because it grows or because rumors don't mean shit. 3, 7, 19. Some even say that all of us are eyes and we don't even know it. She shakes her head in thoughtful disapproval. It's one of those questions that drive you mad if you allow yourself to think about it too long. Hey, you could be one of Tunon's eyes. Bet you never thought of that. Tell me what the gang boss is. A boss is anyone who can rally enough support to kill the previous boss. They cling to command until someone gets wise and stabs him in the back. Tip Cap leads the filthy lambs. Locks leads the rusted harps. Sharp used to lead the bone boys. Couldn't say where he ended up after they broke his legs. Water Wheel orders around the hairy hunters. Holes for shit leads the lazy Malkins. Then Scurvy Queen, Finger Food, and Wild Gash collectively lead the ladies of perpetual strangulation. I'm forgetting at least a dozen more. I've even led a gang or two in my day. They never survive very long, so no point in getting attached. You led a gang. Don't act so surprised. I can crack a whip better than any of those daisies at the disfavored labor camps. But I was never that interested in the power struggle of those grunts and scabs in the middle. I wanted to stand on the top like an apex predator. Here I am. So when I got tired of a gang, I disbanded and let the other bosses fight over the new recruits. That much amused me, at least. Some of my old mates are still alive and hanging around wherever they ended up.
What do you need to know?
How is that you picked up your fallen sister's weapon skills? That's been on my mind for some time, and I still don't have an explanation that fits. I have a few ideas, but Verse frowns in deep thought. Scarlet Furies share a lot of link if it's how we coordinate our dance in the heat of battle. We don't pass messages or anything, but our emotions and intentions synced up without words. She starts whirring one of her knives. After a moment, she sighs and slaps the blade back into its sheath. Go on. The one thing I always knew was that I felt this connection more keenly than my sisters did. I could pick up nuances that they missed, and I could feel them from farther away. When my sisters died, I felt each of them getting yanked out of my brain like someone pulling snails from a garden, but some of their slime residue was still there. Does that make any sense? You should exploit the skill to its fullest potential. Skill? Not sure if I call it that. There's something parasitic about it, but I take your point. If there's an advantage to this thing I'm experiencing, I'm not above using it against our foes. No matter how you paint it, some part of my sisters broke off in me when they died, and now I'm left to deal with it. Just another day in the tears, right? What are your thoughts on the disfavored? A warren of self-entitled children so wound up in delusions of honor they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish they had stayed in the Northern Empire where they belonged. Then we could get some real work done in the tiers. What do you think of their leader, Graven Ash? I've seen enough of that high-minded braggart to know that he's all duty, nothing but a charismatic, broad-shouldered scarecrow. He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces, waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you would think he's afraid of battle. You would think that someone more deserving would take Ash's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult of personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he can do nothing wrong. What about the Ash's connection to his troop? Graven Ash protects. His soldier keeps harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that the disfavored can take a few extra lumps on the battlefield, but that only speaks to their thick-headedness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place that much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people. Stranger than heal battlefield wounds? I don't think so. Suit yourself, I'm just putting it out there. And I don't see you coming up with a great explanation for a soldier who bounces back from a killing wound. Who would you like to see take Ash's place? I would rather let the disfavored sort it out amongst themselves. Graven Ash is this aging figurehead of what should be a constantly changing role. The right soldier needs to grow a pair and kill the old man, kick his cane out from under him, remind the Legion what strength looks like. The voices in the Nurat changes. He's a multifaceted gem, and the Scarlet Chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the voices, any one of us would follow them in a heartbeat. I suppose you have a better idea how to handle the disfavored forces? Of course I do. First, I'd stop babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript from the locals to bolster the front lines, because why waste your elite on the vanguard? Then I'd leave any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Kairos' campaign anyway, so fuck them. You take away everything that makes them strong. It's a damn fine alternative from where I'm standing. If all that strength couldn't end a siege, what good is it to anyone? Would that be so wrong? The chorus is unaccountable for itself in ways that disfavored aren't. Our weak die, the strong fights to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline and discipline any soldier with the audacity to show their teeth. Though they'd never admit it, the disfavored need the chorus to show them the way. Do you think the disfavored have a chance to succeed in the tiers? Speaking as one of the exceptions, most of the tiersmen are pushovers. The people of Stalwart seem capable enough, though I have my doubts. You might call them the disfavored's best challenge. Even if they succeeded, it might be too late to redeem themselves. The chorus have already impacted the conquest more than the disfavored have, or likely ever will. What are your thoughts on the battle strategies? They've really got something with that phalanx maneuver, a formation built on holding still, moving forward slowly and hoping that no one slips in the mud. At best, the disfavored are tired of using the same tactics over and over again. At worst, the enemy knows what to expect out of them. Scarlet Furies are dancers. We hear the music of battle and organize ourselves into works of killing art. Every fight is as hot and passionate as the last, with no room for stale routines. What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? The tiersman can either fight or submit to Kairos' peace, and only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find another excuse to flay them. They need to understand whether we unify the tiers under a shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or Kairos. That's an interesting view of the conquest. It's a pragmatic one anyway. The Scarlet Chorus caught on to the idea at the beginning of the campaign. No one saw objects that we're here to carve a bloody path. If no one objects that we're here to carve a bloody path for gain and amusement, then by all accounts that is our purpose. Besides, unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows the disfavored and chorus to interpret it as they will. The Overlord is concerned with results. I'm happy to focus on the details, especially if that means cutting off a farmer's legs while his family watches their land burn. She smiles at the pleasing memory. No shame in taking pleasure in your work? No, no, there isn't, Fatebinder. I suspect that you're going to make something great together. We're gonna make something great together. A line of bodies stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. She looks at you with renewed interest. Did you find any notable battles? I spent some time in Azure toward the end of the war. Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Cairn's orders, but we never found out for sure. Who was Cairn? Oh, the Arcana Stone. You learn a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus. Care to duel? What?
That would be an understatement, and I thought you'd never ask. Since you're obviously at a huge disadvantage, I'll let you pick our weapon of choice.
What? Let's try dual wielding knives.
Exotic. Good choice. I'll leave you to guess which one is my dominant hand.
What? Maximum gain 5 dual wield skill ranks 5. Verse slashes and parries with unrestrained ferocity. At times it becomes difficult to follow her movements. After taking more than a few cuts, you learn to relax your eyes and better follow the subtle motion of a dance.
You held your own. Call me impressed. Need anything else, or did I tire you out?
So what's the deal with that? It's like a one-off thing. And I selected. I thought I don't know what I was thinking. Death from above. Okay.
At your service, Fatebinder.
Bows with an added flourish.
What do you need?
I have thoughts about your combat abilities.
Do you now? Call me intrigued. You already know that I memorized the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas.
I think you're just a damn good fighter.
Shucks. You know just what to tell a girl, don't you? I'll thank you to spare me the empty compliments.
Bitch.
I'm on it.
Will do. Sorry, can't.
Let me check something real quick. Look at how big it is now.
Will do.
God damn it, do that. So maybe because it's too big.
Will do.
It's too loud. Why is it so loud? I wonder if that's dependent on. Seems like it's messed up now. I can't can't seem to fix it anymore. Oops, hold on. Let me just get this. Now look at how small everything is when you. Awa. Well, I don't think I'm gonna be. Yeah, it was a mistake getting the two-handed bonus from verse, but I didn't know what was going on there. That's why I just pick one. Made a mistake.
I got it.
Take what you can, then leave the cart, otherwise we seize you and your wares. This is robbery. This is Kyros's law. Slow down a moment. I know we're both eager to watch the Archons bicker over tactics like a pair of magpies, but I need to talk to you about something. What's that? The voices of Narad told me that you've come as a mediator. Considering the source, well, I can't help but feel I'm only hearing half the story, so let's have it out. What's so special about you? What else has the voices of Narad told you? Only that I could find you in the Edgering ruins. Truthfully, I could have picked you out of a crowd. You're the only one of us who hasn't spent the last few months bathing in the stink of the Matani River. She laughs, but there's a forced nature to it. Why so suspicious? I just got a feeling. It's just a feeling I got. When the Archons are together, the air gets as taut as a bowstring. I can't help, but I think that no amount of compromise will get them seeing eye to eye. So why invite a mediator from Tunan's court? It doesn't add up. Why do you think the Archons are at odds? I've been with the Scarlet Chorus since the early days of the Conquest, so I can say it's been building for a few years now. There's an energy about those two, like a pair of storms moving to collide. I heard tales, you mean? I heard tell that. Okay, that's supposed to be tales. I heard tales that Griven, Ash, and the Voices in the Rush shared some bad blood in the Northern Empire, but I don't know any of the particulars. By my authority, the Archons will fall in line. That sounds like exactly the attitude to set this campaign in the right direction. I don't envy you the task of getting them to cooperate, which sounds about as easy as teaching a tornado to heal. At least you sound like you know what you're doing. I'm here to deliver an edict from Kairos. That makes a crazy kind of sense, considering how long the siege has taxed the armies. I can understand why Kairos would send you with an edict to speed things along. Have you read it? Do you know what it says? Ascension Hall is the traditional throne room of the Queens of the Apex. The throne stands directly beneath the mountain spire, in the center of the citadel in the valley of Vendrian's Well. During Kairos' conquest of the Tears, you stood in the Ascension Hall as Kairos' representative negotiating the surrender of Apex. You provoked Queen Vendrian Atlanta into attacking you, then killed her. From that day forward, many have called you Queenslayer. Day of Swords. The 26th of every month or span is Kairos' day. It's a day of holiday and rest for all within the Overlord's empire. Each Kairos' day is the last of its span, and it's referred to by the span's name. Kairos' Day of Swords, therefore, is the 26th day of the span of swords. The Archons must claim Ascension Hall by Kairos' Day of Swords, or all will perish. One more thing for the Archons to fight over. Well, thanks for cluing me in. If Kairos sends any lightning our way, just tell me when to duck. I really ought to be meeting with the Archons. The war tent's just passing the center camp. She nods towards the northeast. One last thing, be careful around these favorite types. They take their work seriously, and most of them have suffered too many blows to the head.
At your service, Fatebinder. What do you need?
Hail, Fatefinder. The disfavored scout nods at your approach. Camps on up ahead. Don't mind us, just clearing out the rabble. I just don't understand what I've done to offend. I respect that these are now disfavored lands, and I'm happy to give the Legion a proper toll, but she's going on about trading trading rights. What nonsense is that? I'm not allowed to trade one thing for another. It's not like I'm selling weapons to angry peasants or anything of that sort. The Overlord regulates all trade. If you lack the proper permits, your goods are forfeit. A trade permit? Well, how was I mean, to whom would I speak for such a thing? Not us, and not our problem. Maybe march your butt to Bastard City and plead your case before Tunon. But we'll lighten your burden and relieve you of your worries first. That should make the long trek a bit more bearable. Anything to be argued before Tunon may be argued before me. What? What's there to discuss? We should kill this mongrel. And the warrior pauses, placing her hand in front of her mouth. If the Fatebinder wishes to weigh in on the matter, courtesy demands we listen. The soldier clears her throat, looking at you expectantly. This is a disfavored matter, but I know the agents of the court do so love to throw their judgments around. Well, you could rob me now and have my supply today. The merchant grabs a flask from his cart. Or you can leave me alive and have fermented honey all year long. I even know a few family recipes for painkillers and healing draughts. Suddenly an army will need those. He uncorks a small ceramic vial, and the aroma of cloves and lanolin assaults your nose. These are essential goods to the war effort. We should leave the supplier intact. But he has no permits. You're allowing this low-born wretch to profit when he should toil like any other conquered tearsman? Fatebinder, it is your right to settle disputes when we lock horns with the chorus, but you have no authority on this matter. Let's do athletics. Are you questioning my judgment? Shit. I am, and I have the right to step in when we disagree with the chorus. But this fool is not sworn to an Archon and has no protection. The scout runs her hand along her temple, letting out a long hiss of frustration for throwing her arms in the air. You know what? Have it your way, Fatebinder. This isn't worth the court summons from Tunon. You gain favor with Lithian's Crossing. My deepest thanks. I thought I was about to be robbed and left for dead, and here I thought the disfavored would thank me for trying to bring in fresh provisions. I'll be sure to keep my head down and not make any waves. Oh, but they're upset with me. Thank you for talking down the disfavored from doing worse. Sad times we live in, making a humble living is branded a crime. So saving your hide was worth... Oh, well, naturally. Agnon clears his throat, his face showing a flash of a scowl. One good deed deserves another. Well, when I have my shop up and running, I'll sell you provisions for a song and give you proper bounty on any odd bits of weaponry you find, provided that he jabs a finger at you. You keep standing up for me should those iron goons try to rough me up a second time. You were lucky with us before, merchant. Take care that you don't challenge your luck again. Yeah, he's gonna be upset. I helped your ass.
On it.
Do we have here? Step closer and present yourself. The Stormcaller has arrived. The guard nods at your approach. It is an honor to welcome you to the disfavored camp. Must have been a terrifying honor to be a mouthpiece of Kyros's magic, you lucky sod. Was he trying to be an ass? I'm not sure. We'll just say Graven Ash protects. That he does, the warrior nods in approval, then taps twice on the gate to signal your arrival. Be well, Fatebinder. Glory to Kairos. The guard nods in your direction. Graven Ash protects. It's so big. Why is it so big? This card is bursting with fresh food and useful goods. The table is lined with various medicinal herbs. It would appear that they have been carefully rationed. Oh, that's my favorite character, Barak. These spears are uniform in their quality craftsmanship. The sparring dummy shows the deep gouges of hard use. From what I remember from a previous attempt to play through this game, this guy, because of some magic, he's stuck in his armor. So he can't even pee outside of his armor. He can't even shit outside of his armor. So he has to like kind of clean the armor like after he... So he just shits through his armor and pees through his armor and has to clean that way. So he has a stink about him, which made him very... an interesting character. Like, I really want to see how he looks like outside the armor. So it's interesting. Hail to you, guardian of the law. The man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you have a few access rings weighted you down, best unburden yourself before battle. You know that if the disfavored suffer a merchant in their camp, that must be a man selling only the finest provisions and armaments. He points to his collection of shields, rations, satchels, wineskins, and other sundries. Take a look and see if something interests you. My lord father is familiar with trade. Might I inspect your stock? Let's just know, how did you come to work with the disfavored? Hard work and a good supplier. He got good arms on him. When Tunan's men came to my village, all the merchants were given different lists of what they were or weren't permitted to trade. He smiles, hand on hips. In Kairos' wisdom, my record must have been a good one, because I was given the right to trade in all manner of goods, most importantly, arms. Not a lot of merchants can legally sell weapons. It was like that even before Kairos. Now we can say, my lord's father is familiar with trade. Might I inspect your stock? He hesitates, and then corrects with a welcoming smile. Of course, by all means, I have nothing to hide. He makes a show of removing a crate's lid and showing off his wares with an open palm. His supplies are perfectly ordinary. You see nothing out of place or unauthorized by his mercantile license. Why would I want to steal anything? But then you use your subterfuge then. I don't know about that. So you get skill points though doing these things. You lean down to inspect the merchant's wares and spot a few rings that must have fallen to the bottom of the crate. As you shift supplies aside during the course of your inspection, you make a point of palming the rings, confident that they won't be missed. The merchant pretends to not observe your action, but a momentary flash of disappointment is evident in his eyes. The funny thing is, like, we're playing a character who's kind of villainous. Not necessarily, I guess, because we work for a tyrant, basically. But we don't have to be assholes, So our subterfuge skill wasn't that great, He was able to see us stealing, and then now he's trying to make us feel ashamed of our action. That's a really good description. A flash of disappointment. Pentabor rubs his hands, eyes alight. Let's see if we can find something you might like. Just add the amount of rings that was missing, Simple as that. Maybe she can wear this. Let me see. Oh, no, not this one. I have to check. Yeah. Fatebinder, you need something else? Pentabor frowns. You're gonna be like that to me? You're really gonna be like that to me? Yeah. Got no time to chitter. Too much armor to mend. Speak to Uncle Pentabor if you have rings to trade. Stay vigilant, Fatebinder. Good equip. Carefully skinned game hang from this branch. They appear sickly and malnourished. Rabbits. Okay.
so hard.